and welcome to this episode of the Language Lab podcast. This is my internet video, vlog, podcast, audio thing where I talk about things happening in my language learning life. And my name is Siat. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the experiment that I did in February. And this experiment was to listen to the same audio every day across my three languages. So I had a podcast that I listened to, short podcast that I listened to in Japanese. I had a TED video that I listened to in Spanish, and then some exercises from a French phonetics practice book. And I will say that I did miss some days, but overwhelmingly so, I was able to do what I set out, which was to listen to the things overwhelming or the majority of the days during the month of February in the year of 2026. And I really enjoyed doing it. And I think that it taught me a lot. I mean, one thing that it taught me was that there is a lot to be learned from repeating and reviewing content and material. So I think sometimes that can be framed, this isn't anything, not just language learning, but that can be framed as being like boring. And maybe at times it was, but what I think it really helped me do was to internalize and to really get to know the material and the content. And then I think through that, I was also able to make connections between what I was listening to and maybe what I was studying in some of my textbooks. And I could hear those grammar points or the vocabulary being there. And I think it just kind of helped to, again, like solidify, bring things into picture together. So I think it's like definitely something that's well worth doing. One thing that I learned too is that, like, for me, this provided momentum and motivation for me to do language learning stuff every day, because I had set this goal, and even though I didn't do it every single day, I think maybe I did like 25 out of 28 days, like it was still like, okay, I said I wanted to do that. I'm going to do it. And I think that was like a really, really positive thing for me. It helped like build that momentum. One thing that I learned that I should do differently or will do differently in the future is that I am going to just lightly decide throughout the day when I'm going to do it. Because a couple of times it would be like midnight and I was like, oh, I didn't do it. And it was, so sometimes I would stay up and then sometimes I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do it. So I think it's just like a little bit of pre-planning at the beginning of the day for when I'm going to do the listening would be really, really helpful. And again, the listening exercises or like what I was doing for the challenge, they were short, like 5 to 7 minutes in length max across each language. And so there's definitely time throughout the day where I could listen to it and it wouldn't be disturbance or disruptive to whatever else it is that I'm doing. One thing I learned too, I think, is that like 3 languages was too many. And so in the future, at least for this next sort of round, which I think I'm going to do between either like 30 days or 45 days, I'm only going to do 2 languages, and those 2 languages are going to be Japanese and French. So that's because those are the languages that are newest to me, right? Like I don't have a high level in those languages. And so I think I really get the most out of doing it for those languages. Not that I don't get anything out of doing it in Spanish. I just feel like it's not really something that I need to focus on for Spanish for the purposes. And so I'm going to continue doing it, but I'm going to do it in 2 languages. And I'm going to pick like new things to do every, 4 to 6 weeks, like I said. So I think that that's enough time for me to listen to the thing a bunch of times, maybe start working on memory, do some shadowing practice, and also read with the transcript, or if I need to, create the transcript. So I can really get to do it. But then if I did it for like 2 months, I think I might start to really dislike the things that I'm listening to, and I want to still enjoy whatever it is that I am listening to, and so I think like 30 to 45 days, 4 to 6 weeks is a sweet spot for doing this. So I think that more people should do this if they're not already. I don't know. I have no idea what you, language learner, are doing in terms of, do you listen to the same thing a lot? I know that I didn't before I started doing this, and I think it's really, really helpful and something that I would recommend at least trying to do for a little while. And I think the one thing that really helped me is that I picked things that were short. I think if I told myself that I was going to listen to the same 30-minute podcast every day, I would not have done this. But it was really easy for me to say, hey, I'm going to listen to the same 4-minute Japanese podcast, and I may or may not listen to it with the transcription. And so that really helped me just be flexible, and also for me to be excited. I think having the transcripts available, or transcripts available, is like really, really helpful, and something that sometimes I would do it with a transcript, like do the listening with it. Sometimes I wouldn't, because I would just be doing something else, and I just needed to focus on listening, and then, whatever laundry dishes I was doing. But yeah, I would say like I'm interested to see what continuing to do this will do for my comprehension for that one thing. Like, because I noticed, especially with the Japanese podcast that I was listening to, and again, I've been studying Japanese for a while, but made very little progress, which is totally fine. And so, I picked something that was pretty easy. And then by the end, I was like, oh, okay, I understand every part of this. And that was partially from repetition. That was partially from reviewing the transcript. But I think it was just like also helped like pulling in concepts that I was learning other places and really being able to understand things. And I didn't also, I had the transcription, but it was in the language. So it wasn't like it was a translation. And I think like just kind of getting over that hump of not understanding and having to sit with that discomfort of not having a translation, but again, having a transcript and knowing that over the 4 to 6 weeks I would pick it up was really, really helpful. So I will continue to do this, and I will continue to periodically share what it is that I've chosen to listen to in case you are interested. I think for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I will again do another Japanese Russian podcast, and then exercises from the French progressive phonetic practice book. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing listening wise for this sort of segment of my language learning. And then I will also be doing the language learning bingo board that a couple of language creators created. Did you see what I did there? And I'm really excited about this because I always like doing I want to do more fun activities. Like, I don't think it's on here, but one of the things I want to do is cook a recipe from a recipe book in a different language. I do have a French recipe book, by the way. So I want to do things like that and have that kind of fun. I also have a lot of fun in my textbooks. So again, just having a variety of kinds of fun is something that I want to do. So I'll link this below so that you all can see. And then at the end of this month or beginning of next month, I'll just do a little recap of the language bingo board and some of the activities and how it went. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Be sure to comment, or subscribe wherever you are listening and watching. And I will be back soon with another episode. Thanks so much.